When people think of Naruto fighting games, they usually think of the Ultimate Ninja Storm game. But what if I told you there was a different series on the GameCube? Naruto Collection Ninja 2 was one of the games I grew up playing, and it was in our lineup next to Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. I thought that was the end of the series on the GameCube, but there are actually 4 games. 2 that came to the West, and 2 that stayed in Japan. Let's play through all the games in order to see the evolution of the series and what they kept from us. Naruto Collection Ninja 1 is the first game in the series, and it shows. The story mode of this game is short. So short that you can watch an episode of the anime and finish the game before the episode ends, even while watching all the cutscenes that are done in these character cutouts. It's a short story because it only covers from the belt test to right before the tuning exam starts, and you only play as Naruto, or I should say, fight only as Naruto. The game is a 3D fighting game, like a simplified Tekken game. You have 2 attack buttons, one for quick weak hits, that's a mouthful, and the other for stronger attacks. You can combine them both to do combos depending on the character. Each character also has special attacks or jutsus that you can do by pressing a button. While they all have their unique move, they all cover the same base. Up does an anti-air attack, down is a low attack, back is a defensive move, and forward is an aggressive attack. It allows each character to feel unique, with each one having their own move, but easy to pick up and play by giving them the same type of attacks. Makes the random button pretty nice. You can block every attack by standing still or moving backwards, but to counter, your opponent can grab you. They are all similar looking except for Zabuza, who does this freaking chokeslam suplex on you. One other move that cannot be blocked is the ultimate jutsu, that uses up your whole chakra bar and does a ton of damage. You however rarely want to use your ultimate attack because you want to save your chakra for substitutions. If you're being hit, you use 75% of your chakra to teleport behind the enemy with a hit. Don't want to use up your chakra for a move that has a low chance to land and your opponent could then combo you freely. If you win with all your chakra, you can do a finisher because it gets rid of the HUD and it becomes the cinematic finisher, and it will make your friends salty as well. Outside of story mode, there are not many modes. The game has the basic arcade, time attack, and survival. They all feel the same, just with some small tweaks to them. Funny enough, the story mode has less fights than the arcade mode. The last mode is versus, where you can fight against a friend or a CPU. You can choose up to 10 different characters, which you only have to get 3 that are not too difficult to unlock, but can be a bit frustrating. League can be done by beating the story without continuing, which should be fast. Ninetales Naruto is the one that will take you a while, as you have to beat each character's arcade mode twice. This feels like padding, since what's the point of doing it twice? The last character is Sharingan Kakashi, who has the cool ability of being able to copy other characters' ultimate jutsu. In the end, this game feels like a beta. It has a solid combat system, but everything surrounding it is lacking. Story mode and other modes feel like the bare minimum. I don't think it's something people have to play, especially when the next game makes this one obsolete. Clash of Ninja 2 is the one most of us remember of this series. This game was actually announced at the same time as the first game. It's a little while to announce a game and its sequel at the same time, but this was possible because the game was already released in Japan 3 years prior. This will have implications with the series, but we'll talk about that later. In Europe, they released the second game as Clash of Ninja European version, and skipped the first game entirely. They should have done that in the States, but I do find it odd that they kept the Japanese voice acting in the European one. Seems they prefer the subs over the dubs over there. This game's story retells everything in the first game and keeps going until the end of the tuning exam. It's technically twice as long as the last game, so it'll take around an hour to beat, which is not that much better. I feel the presentation got a downgrade with these tiles for the characters instead of the big cutouts that had a lot of personality to them. Gameplay wise, it's the same with nothing new added in that department. The biggest change, however, is in the modes. You have the same modes as before, but this time they added a 3-on-3 battle. You pick 3 characters and fight with each one after the other until all characters lose. We have viewer mode, where you can watch computers battle each other. It's the best way to decide if tonight's takeout will be pizza or Chinese. But what made this game stand out more than anything else is that you can now have 4-player battle royale. I had this game while I was younger, and this was the reason we played this game so much. It turned a regular fighting game into a chaotic party game. You want to unlock all the characters to get the most out of this game, and they changed how to get them. There is now a shop where you can buy collectibles, characters, and even extra story chapters. I spend most of my time buying the characters, and this is where the game becomes a slog. You will have to grind battles for minimum wage and inflation starts to hit fast. Eventually you will get an extra mode you will unlock called Overall. Here you will be fighting waves of the sound ninjas that lets you collect money fast. Greatly appreciated. But it does come in rather late in the unlock process. Once you get everyone, you will have 20-ish characters? 5 of the characters feel very similar, with Mizuki being a skin for Iruka, probably just added to pad out the grind. With 2 additional joke characters of Crow, who can tank hits, and Akamaru being small where high attacks will miss him. It's not beneath me to kick him. Besides these characters, everyone is unique in their playstyle. Kankuro uses his puppets, Gaara uses his sand, and Kiba turns to ball. The one character that everyone ganged up on when picked was Sharingan Sasuke. Specifically, since he could teleport behind you from anywhere with regular attacks. This is the game most people played and where the game started to get its footing. It had a good variety of characters and made itself unique with the 4-player brawl mode. Sadly, this was the last game we got in the West on the GameCube, but not the last game on the console. Let's go see on what we missed out on. Naruto Collection Ninja 3 was never released in the West, most likely because Clash of Ninja 2 was released 2 months before the Wii. No point in releasing the game on a previous console. In Japan, however, this game came out 2 years prior. The story mode of this game picks up in the middle of the Chunin exam and ends at the search of the Tsunade arc. They went back to the character cutouts, which are much better than the Clash of Ninja 2 tiles. Oddly enough, now on the 3rd game, they decided to add a tutorial. Since the game was in Japanese, I needed to take out my phone with Google Translate to pass this. Its story fights now have conditions like win with health below 30% or with a specific finisher. It does add a bit of variety into the game, and they even added minigames. But it's annoying that it's the one game I can't read. You can also replay the missions at different levels where their conditions will be harder to fulfill. More changes were done in the gameplay department. We now have guard breaks where you can break someone's guard if you hit them enough. In the previous game, you can keep blocking every attack without any issue, which is annoying, incentivizing people to keep blocking unless they get a short hit. This rewards players for being more aggressive instead of just turning up. On top of all that, the characters have at least 2 ultimate moves. There are now 3 varieties of ultimates, 2 that I like and 1 that I'm not a fan of. First, it's Ryu time. This one does not have a cutscene and you do the special in the middle of combat. It keeps the pace of the game going and is less telegraphed. Next is transformation specials. Some characters can transform in the middle of battle, and they have not just new movesets, but ultimate specials as well. Last is critical specials, which I don't like. These are special moves you can only do when you are low on health. It's more of a comeback mechanic which does a ton of damage and feels cheap. And I also prefer the other 2 specials as they feel more unique. The shop on the other hand is the same. You'll have to grind just like the last time to get all the characters, but that sounds like a slog. We're not cavemen, we have technology. By technology, I mean a complete save file from GameFAQs. Once you have unlocked everything, you have the same modes as the last game, and the arcade and survival mode can now both be done in co-op. I always appreciate any game that adds co-op. You can even play these modes with 29 different characters this game has, not including transformations. Nine-Tailed Naruto, Sharingan Kakashi, and Sharingan Sasuke have become transformation for each character. Mizuki is now his own character but still plays very similar to Iruka. Most of the other characters round out the Konoha 12 with a few heavy hitters like Jiraiya, Tsunade, the 3rd Hokage, and of course, this game's overpowered character, Itachi. Not only does he have a long reach move, but man does he teleport everywhere. This game rounded out the cast of characters we expected while adding some good mechanics, the guard break, and some questionable ones, the critical specials. It's a fun game where the developers are trying different things in the franchise. Now, let's look at that last Clash of Ninja game on the GameCube. Clash of Ninja 4 continues the story by covering the Sasuke retrieval arc. Sort of. They decided to take some liberties by making a few what-if situations like the Sound 4 fighting Itachi and Kisame. Instead of the stills and cutouts, this game uses original anime frames. You can tell these are original because they don't look very good. Playing this mode, you can tell they pushed the 3-on-3 battle because they made changes to it. Now you can swap between characters in the middle of battle. It's basically Marvel vs. Capcom. It's much better, allowing you to be more strategic with swapping out characters. One change for the better was the removal of critical specials, allowing you to do their second ultimate whenever. The next additions make the game a lot more competitive. You can now choose between two different types of substitution jutsus. With the R button, you substitute like usually behind them with a hit, but with the L button, you appear behind them where you can do your own combo. Then you decide what will be the best option for you. Next is the one with the most potential, Y canceling. In certain spots of a character's combo, you could cancel the attack and link it to another combo, but it costs 25% of your chakra. One big change is also the shop. It's gone. If you want to unlock characters, you have to do missions instead. There are challenge missions where you have to do specific things like a combo string or win 10 fights in survival with a specific character. Of course, I'm still holding up my phone to read the challenge, but luckily there is a fan English patch. It will turn all the menus and text into English except the game's story. Now that you can read the missions, you might have wished you couldn't. There are tons of missions and they get repetitive. This is even more grindy than the shop, as getting the missions is random. Every single time you return to the main menu, there is a chance you will unlock a mission. Now you have to do these missions on the game's schedule, and it feels like a way to stop the player from completing the game too fast. You have to do at least 120 missions to unlock all 36 characters. They brought back all the previous characters from the last game and added some of the more obvious characters left out, like Kabuto, the Sound 4, Kimimaru, and Kisame. However, the overpowered characters that they added this time are One-Tailed Naruto, who's different from the Nine-Tailed Naruto, Awakened Hinata, and Level 2 Cursed Sasuke, who just flies everywhere. A bit surprising none of these games had Level 1 Cursed Mark Sasuke. You can always just use technology to unlock all these characters, or Super Clash of Ninja 4 is a competitive patch for the game. It was initially developed by The Cape, Sifu, Gunblaze, Kisage, and here are more amazing people who worked on it. Thank you all for your services. Everything will be unlocked besides Akamaru. He is not a competitive character because of his height. Surprisingly, they kept Crow. To make it even more competitive, they changed some of the characters' moves. One of the cooler additions is new custom costumes you never see in an official game. While the one-on-one modes work great, the 3-on-3 is broken in this patch. You're not able to switch between characters, so it basically becomes the original version of this mode, and it also crashed my game. I'm a bit disappointed to see this mode not be playable, so it can become the definite addition of this game. But that's just the cherry on top, since it is specifically for competitive people. You can't even pause in this game. Maybe we shall see Ultra Clash of Ninja 4 Championship Edition with everything included. If you're interested, there is a Discord where they have the patch, talk about the meta, and host tournaments. The game took the series from a fun party game to a more legitimate technical fighter. It gave the player more control with special moves and technical mechanics with Y cancelling and choice of substitution. While that was the last Clash of Ninja game, there was one more GameCube Naruto game, so let's finish it off. The Naruto Collection is not much of a game, but a collection of demos. It gives you a taste of all the different Naruto games that have been released, and there are many different types of games using Naruto. They had the Clash of Ninja fighting game, an action platformer, and even an RPG. There were even some trailers on games that were coming out back then. It reminded me of those old PS2 demos discs, but just with Naruto games. It was fun being able to play all these Clash of Ninja games on the GameCube, and seeing the evolution of the series. It started with a game that had a good foundation with its gameplay, but rough edges with the bare minimum of content. Felt more like a demo for the second game, which cemented itself as more of a broader party game with 4-player brawls and more content for single player. Now that they had the core gameplay and playstyle, they try to add some mechanics to spice things up to give the player more options in the third game. With the fourth one, they leaned towards the competitive side with a 3-on-3 that resembled a competitive fighting game, and the extra option of the type of substitution jutsu and Y cancelling that no one but a competitive player would use. It's a shame we never got all these games here in the West, mostly because how late these games were ported over. If we had all 4 games, I think Clash of Ninja 4 would have been one everyone talked about. The series did continue on the Wii, and that deserves its own deep dives, but that will be a story for another time. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more videos like these. But as always, my lovely patients, I thank you so much for watching. and tune in next time. Bye.